All right. If you're looking to add multi-user co-presence and collaboration to any project or app, you're in the right spot. If you're wanting to know how to build the world's greatest electronic dance music, you are also in the right spot. So congratulations on successfully doing that. I'm David Waters. I'm one of the co-founders of Cavernus. We're an 8-year-old startup, as they tend to be. Joining me is Cody Tedrick. He's one of our senior engineers that's been pivotal as a part of our Unreal Engine effort. So today we're going to quickly get into actual demonstrations, show you how very much it is easy to add multi-user co-presence, collaboration, space persistence, property synchronization, and all this great stuff to really any existing project that you have. We'll show a little bit of what the platform's about. It's quite extensive. The features of the platform are bigger than this one presentation. So as you learn and grow and go through our documentation, you'll learn a lot about it. Otherwise, just reach out to us and we'll help you understand what all is available in the platform. I'm going to introduce you to the Cavrnus Spatial Connector, the CSC. That's what you will find in the fab from us. We'll show that. Then I'm going to briefly introduce you to Epic's Collab Viewer Template. A lot of people love the Collab Viewer Template, but if you're working with it at all, you will quickly realize it is a template. It's not a finished architecture just yet, and it's got some issues here and there, and it's got some stuff that's not completed. And so what we've done is we've supercharged Epic's Collab Viewer Template. We've essentially finished it. We've added world-class cloud and on-premise multi-user co-presence to it. All the features of our platform we've added to it. A bug fix here and there, you can count on that. And so it's a really compelling tool to use as a new project template. And then also, thanks to Cody, we've distilled it down into a plugin. And I think this is one of the most valuable things about our supercharging of the CVT is we've made it into a drag and drop plugin that you can add the CVT to any existing project or start with that. Then we will quickly switch over to Cody, who's going to talk about some of the deeper details in how you can leverage our plugin and our platform to synchronize data across users and applications, show how that is actually implemented. So I'm going to be the easy button guy. I'm going to show you how an executive, a marketing executive, can make multi-user co-presence in any Unreal app. And then Cody's going to show you how it all works. So if you haven't heard of Cavernus, we're a startup made up of a bunch of industry veterans from the likes of Bunkspeed, Keyshot, NVIDIA, and we've come together as a part of this startup. It is actually our 8th year. We've been building this platform. So it's not a new thing, it's not a metaverse thing, it's not an AI thing, it's been around for quite some time. Of course, you can use it to build metaverses, you can integrate AI into it, and we'll show some of that, but a long-established platform that just continues to get better and better and better. We have a very close partnership with Epic. It started with mega grants, and then it moved into actual investment, and then most recently, we're helping them from a technology point of view with Twinmotion for Teams that was launched this week and announced this week, which is also now going to have multi-user co-presence and collaboration in Twinmotion, which is very exciting. And if you've heard of VV and the VV-verse, we're the technology behind that as well. So if you look at our platform, we actually have a lot of features. I don't want to waste too much time going through them all as a bulleted list, but it is an enterprise-class collaboration platform. So user access management, user roles and permissions, being able to integrate into an existing IAM system and single sign-on system like Okta that an enterprise might have rolled out. Data encryption, end-to-end, content management, end-to-end. So there's a lot of enterprise-class features that you'll see, some I'm not even mentioning or forgetting. The platform is deployable by way of our public cloud instance. So if you want to use our public cloud instance, you can be up and running with a multi-user collaboration platform in less than 10 minutes. And that's in a UE app. If a larger enterprise has their own virtual private cloud, we support that as well. We can deploy on any of the cloud service providers that are out there. And last, but certainly not least, we support on-premise deployments. So if you're working with government agencies or if you're working with a larger enterprise that wants to run our platform on their own hardware for security reasons, we absolutely support that as well. I mentioned the CSC. We'll get to showing you that as well. And we've talked about some of the features. We'll continue to talk about the features, but some of the ones that we even take for granted, I will forget to mention, and you'll be like, oh, that's a killer feature right there. Voice and video. We instantly add voice and video conferencing to any UE app or project or level that you're working on, right? So zoom right in whatever you're building. It's already there. Transcription with translation. We're leveraging AWS in that regard, but anybody participating in that voice and video communication, you can transcribe what they're saying and you can translate it into almost 70 different languages. So you can have people just speaking completely different languages from each other and see that in the closed caption. That can be in your UE app in less than 5 minutes. For those that are really curious and techie, this is our system architecture from a high level, certainly. We're based on a high-performance multi-user journaling system. What does that mean? What does that get you? Well, there's some cool things it does get you. First off, it gives you the space history, so you can go back at any point within a space or a session. That is what the platform represents itself as. So we're kind of based on these journals that we're all sharing, but you kind of describe those as spaces, as metaverses, as sessions, as scenes, whatever you want to call them in your app, feel free. But they're essentially, it's best to think of them as spaces. And the reason I always say that is they are persistent. So if I leave, you don't have to leave. If you make changes and then leave and I come back, I see your changes. Persistence is a game changer, and it's kind of best to think of them as spaces or scenes to understand that persistence, rather than a session, which kind of implies it's temporary. We do have a full REST API with an SDK, so if you really, really want to get dirty, you can very low level program and develop to our platform. And then we also have sister spatial connectors on other engines. There's a CSC for Unity. There's a CSC for .NET. And you might ask, well, why do you need that? You might want to build back-end applications, server-side applications that connect to the same space or scene and are updating data, adding data, interacting, right? And so this is a direct line to a very easy way to build live digital twins. And then last but not least, JavaScript. And why would you use JavaScript? Well, you can build user interfaces that control the scene or environment, for example. And we'll actually show kind of an implication of that. And then sitting on top of all your applications, applications we've built, we alluded to Twinmotion and certainly the CVT, which I need to hurry up and get to. So now I'm going to switch to a project. And so you guys, I'm going to put it over here. There we go. So just to we've got a lot to show you, so we need to be quick. So I was going to start a new project from the templates. You guys got to trust me. This is a brand new template from the automotive category. It's the Photo Studio. I haven't done anything to it. And our plugin, which I want to show you, which I need a browser for. So if you go to the fab, that is the shortcut to it. But if you search on CAV, you will see providers, publishers, you'll see us right there. And I am going to have a QR code for you in a second. So if you guys want to take advantage of that, just hang tight. But there's our CSC plugin. It's a no-cost plugin that you add to your engine now, which is a huge improvement from where we were at last year, if you'd talked to us back then, where we were more of a project template. Now it's an engine template that goes straight into any of the UE installations you have. You just add it to your fab library. And then in the Epic launcher, there we go. Nope, that's the project. In the Epic launcher, you'll see down in here in your fab library, you just install to engine. And in this case, the 5.5 installation on this machine is the only one that I don't have it already plugged into. And you can see this just takes a few minutes to install it into your UE installation. If you happen to look here, it's installed in 5.3. You get notifications if it's been updated right here. So it's very easy for us to push updates to you guys. So once you do that, I'm now going to go into the plugins, our favorite plugins management window. And so if you search CAV, you'll find the Cavrnus Spatial Connector. So I actually have this project open twice. I just noticed. I'm going to switch to the other one. So there it is. So if I go to plugins and I search on Cavernus, you can see the spatial connector right there. So I just enable it. We're doing this live without a net. Oh, did that come back while I wasn't looking? OK, so now I've enabled the plugin, but I haven't done anything to this template. This is the Photo Studio straight out of the automotive category in the new project template area in Unreal Editor. You can see there's this new menu. And if you click on Welcome, it just shows you three things. One, you can view our documentation. We have an extensive set of documentation within Confluence. Browse at your leisure. You can join our Discord channel by invitation of Cody himself. We recommend you do that. That's a great way to interact with us about any questions you have or issues that you're running into. And last but not least is new sign up. So you can sign up for free. You can integrate and develop and test for free. And you can even use it for free, although it's time limited on how long people can be in a collaborative session together. So just to show you, if I have an existing organization, I can sign in here, but I want to create a new one. And this is super, super easy and fast. So I'm going to get a code here. We all hate this, don't we? We'll do that. But hey, it's real enterprise stuff, you know, so you gotta. And now I simply sign up. The hardest thing you're gonna do is create a domain name. Actually, I'm gonna stop short of this, but right here, you're just gonna pick a domain name. Now, this is just your customer domain. If you're using our public cloud, it'll end in .cavern.us. You can certainly point to that from a different URL. If you want to have it be on your own virtual private cloud or on-premise, just reach out to us. We'll help you with that. But for those using our public cloud, just pick a domain name, like Cody Rules. It could be anything, and that is available, Cody. It is available, so you can do that later. And then you'll set it up. It's that easy. And then once you've done that, you'll end up in our console. There's a whole web console, which is really cool and powerful, and lots of fun stuff happens. In this case, I'm going to log in to our Cavernus console. And the hardest thing to do in the whole world is type while you're on a conference call. OK, so here's our console. Lots of stuff to do here. There's platform stuff if you have permission, if you're the creator of that domain, if you're the admin of that domain. There are settings within the platform. This is where you set up things like Active Directory and single sign-on and connect to Okta and all kinds of fun stuff. configure the translation services, you name it. Lots of stuff in here. We won't spend time in here. Extensions, one of our extensions is the transcriptor connection. So you'll see that. We also have an example of how to connect to OpenAI. So imagine when you're in a space or a session, you can have a transcription bot or user in that space with you, and then that does all the transcription and translation. You can also have an AI bot in that space, and they can affect the space and the scene. What it can do is ultimately up to you on what the OpenAI bot is aware of, what it knows about that scene in that space, and how people can leverage that. So this is a good shortcut way to add AI to existing apps that you have. There's a whole roles and policies system, so you can create roles and assign them to team members. Here you can see the team members that are part of our domain. And then here are the spaces. Again, these are essentially journals. I call them spaces. We tend to call them spaces. You can call them sessions, scenes, whatever you want. But these are spaces. These are all the spaces that I own or that I've been invited to as a member. And if I've been invited to them as a member, I might have a different role. But as the owner of the space, I have a significant permission difference. In this case, it's actually Cody that is the space owner of that. He's added the transcription bot to this space, and then he's added a bunch of Cavernus people for this demo. The other thing I'm going to show you is we have a space analyzer. This is using our JavaScript connector to connect to that space. And one of the first things it does when it connects to that space is it shows you who's in it. So this is, again, like a console, but it's actually connected to the space. And you can see Anthony, our CEO, Anthony Duca, co-founder and CEO, is hanging out in the space. Elias, who's one of our QA engineers, is hanging out in the space. I'm in there a few times. And the transcription bot's in there. You can also see the properties that you're setting. In this case, there's all sorts of different properties. We've been using this space for various things. Here are some examples. So when your app creates properties that you want to synchronize between users, you can actually browse them within this console. And not only can you browse them, you can affect them. You can interact with them. So if I wanted to make this particular object, you can see its color. We could change its color. That would actually happen in the space, right? So you can build web interfaces that affect training, affect a design review, you name it, whatever you guys can think up. And then you can also watch the journal. Oh, you can see, that's kind of cool. So if you see this line, Anthony's flying around in that journal. The blue T means it's transient. So we're not going to permanently record that, but we're going to make note that Anthony's flying around so that you can see that happen. And so now I am going to hit play in this project. We're going to jump to the CVT. I've added that as a plugin. To enable it in this project, all I have to do is, I have to do three things. The first thing I have to do is set up the project settings. That's actually related to Epic. They have collision channels that they use for the CVT, and we want to make sure that those are set up in your project. So we do that. And it has to restart because it adds data to your INI. And then the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the CVT plugin to this level. I do that because the CVT has specific player pawns and player controllers. So I add it to the level. And then the last thing I can do, I don't have to, is I can make everything on that level be a movable static mesh. This is just makes it easier if you're not a developer and you don't have specific things that you want to move. So what I'm showing here, this is an empty level. It's just got the CSC, automotive, and architecture levels, just from the CVT, I should say. So I'm going to click on that. And then this is what the other project should have shown.
Multiple systems up here.
It's definitely got to be a human error, trust me. So I'm going to type in my domain. Again, if you imagine I just added the CSC to this particular project, and I didn't do any coding, no blueprint coding, no C++ coding. The biggest thing you have to do is add an actor to the level, and that's just a shortcut. If you don't want to have an actor in your level, you can, within your level blueprint, just start the node that does the authentication. But now that I've logged into the platform, you can see here are those spaces. That should look like just like the spaces you saw in the console. And I'm going to connect to this Unreal Fest space. And you saw the car move. You see that dimension show up. That's because spaces are persistent. And you see Anthony running around there. You can see I'm actually in here multiple times. This is the CVT from Epic, but this is all cavernized. So if I pick up this car and move it, we actually added rotation. We added scale as well, because those were kind of desperately needed. And Anthony is seeing that as we speak. If I were to go into the console, and I'll do this at the side, and I'll kick over to Cody here. But in the console, I can affect the same things that you're seeing happen right there. So let me make sure you can get to the CSC. Again, it's probably easy or easier to just go to the fab and search CAV, and you'll see us as a publisher. But using this QR code, that'll take you straight to our publisher page, and you can grab the CSC. You add it to your library, you install it to your engine, and then you just, in any project, enable it from the plugin manager, and you're going to be good to go. Don't forget to create your domain. We talked about the CVT. Again, we've turned it into a plugin. It's a drag and drop folder. Eventually, we'd love to see the CVT, as we've made it a plugin, end up in the fab. That would make it even that much easier. Right now, it's a download either from our webpage or from GitHub. It ends up as a folder that you just drag and drop into any of your projects. And you can get the cavernized or supercharged version of the CVT at this URL. And you saw me hop into what we call the Uber demo or mega demo, and that simply has 5 demo levels, 3 of which show off the CSC by itself, 2 of which show off the CVT with the standard CVT levels that you see in the new project templates from Epic, the automotive one and the architecture one. You can get the mega demo from this URL, and I will get out of Cody's way.
Yeah. Should I switch to 2?
Let them get a picture.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sweet. And these are available in our brochures, and we have some cards to hand out as well in case you missed it.
Yeah, thanks, Cody. There's brochures on the recycle bins in the back, so feel free to grab those.
Yeah, and we have some up here, so after Q&A, we'll be sure you guys have access to those. Okay. So let's hop out of this scene. So yeah, as David was saying, this is our sort of mega sample project. So it has both the CVT and the CSC core samples in it. So let's just hop right in. Let's go straight to the CSC sample. So this should look familiar. All of this UI that we're seeing here, it's hard to talk and type. This UI and login flow is provided out of the box, right? So we have flows for member and guest access. So depending on your needs and your project needs, you can just repurpose our UI and this functionality just right out of the box. In case you need to configure it for your personal needs, you can go to the project settings, cruise on down to the plugins CSC, and here you'll see all of the UI that is provided outside the box, right? So if you need to get in there, reskin it, match your look and feel of your application, you can do so without having to actually, change any of the underlying code. If you like to, it's quite simple, right? So let's just quickly take a detour into one of these widgets right? So you can come in here, restyle it, repurpose it, do what you need. The underlying calls are quite simple, right? So we want to have the granularity you need to potentially create your own custom flow if you need it. So let's just get out of runtime here and just quickly looking through the blueprints. Now, this is inheriting from a C++ class. I will spare you guys the details there, but let's get into how you would log in as a member from this page, right? So that's basically it. This is our Cavernus blueprint to log in as a member. And it's just as simple as just grabbing your, well, I'm not sure what it was called, but the email input, right? So it's as simple as getting the email input, boom. Drag and drop. And then there's a button here, so you just get the button vet, click here, connects, and then that's essentially your access into the Cavernus authentication. So let's hop back. To the CSC sample. And let's join, once this loads, the Unreal Fest scene. Okay, so as David was saying, this space is a live and living space connected to the journal. So we've joined a space with Elias. I think he's in Chile right now.
Yeah,
right?
Elias is in Chile.
Yeah, so he's in Chile as our QA engineer. Anthony, oh, he's actually talking right now. Anthony, yeah, we can hear you, if you can hear us. Anthony, our CEO. And then we also have another instance of David over there. But what this scene is purposed to do is to provide kind of bite-sized chunks of, how do I track a property, say from a float that you use for a slider, or color values for light color, even textures. And as I'm changing this, Anthony is changing it as well, or seeing it live as well. To even like simpler, right? We have Boolean values to show and hide. And you can affect and hook these properties up to anything that you need in your project. And again, once I leave this space, and oh, actually, this is Anthony. Oh, this is, I think, David. Someone is changing the values right now.
It's Anthony.
It's Anthony, okay. But you can see how this leads to collaboration, right? These are really simple, building blocks. And there looks like Anthony is moving the sphere. But let's quickly go into one of these UI components just to kind of give you a better sense to sort of demystify what is happening back there. So, but again, our goal with these levels are to ultimately give you building blocks so you don't have to get into the nitty-gritty, right?
Yeah, all this is royalty-free, license-free.
Yeah.
Just use it as you will.
And speaking of that, the avatar that we're showing as well is, hold on here. Just do that. Fully rigged. So not only does it work, keyboard and mouse, but it also works in VR. So the hands, the neck, everything is synced with your HMD and left and right controllers. So that comes across in co-presence as well. So it's actually really useful in, say, design reviews when you're actually like, hey, look at this thing that I'm looking at, mark it up with annotations and whatnot. So let's see how we're doing on time. 19. So just briefly here, let's go into visibility. And without getting into too much detail, this is what most blueprints will end up looking like, right? So you'll have your UI, and that is typically the thing that's doing the action. And you'll have, in this case, it's the cube that's receiving the visibility bool, and it's basically being told from the server, hey, should I be visible or invisible? And that is all that is occurring right here in this bind. So right here, this is where The server's telling you hide or show the cube. And up here, the UI is being set up. Again, with a similar bind to either be checked or unchecked. And then when you click the button, we're telling the journal with these post calls, hey, here's the new value. Anyone who's bound to it, update accordingly. So when you're deving in Cavernus, particularly in blueprints, you have 3 or 4 different types of nodes that you'll be using ad nauseum. And it makes it really simple, and the complexity is really hidden, so it makes it easier to develop and be more productive. So showing that, is there anything else we want to show in CSC, David? Should we go to CVT?
And you guys understood this level, right? These are all example widgets to move things, change the color of things, change the intensity of things. One of them is a sequence that keeps track of what sequence things are done or not. And all that gets stored in the journal as a persistent data set.
Yeah. So let's go check out the supercharged CVT template here. Can log back in. Loading up the space list. We'll head back into the Unreal Fest. And again, the cool thing is we're using the same space and journal for all of these levels, right? So they can have each level can have each of their own properties that are being synced. And it doesn't really matter if the property doesn't exist in the level that you're in. So it's just really flexible at the end of the day. Okay, so it looks like the scene is loaded. So nothing too crazy happening in here. Looks like we have an instance of David running around.
Oh, that's Mark in the booth.
Is it? Yeah. Oh, it's right.
That's Mark downstairs in the booth.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in the South Hall on the main floor. So anyways, kind of going through, looks like he's going to be pointing here and maybe moving some stuff around. But as David was showing, we've made quite a few enhancements and I think much needed upgrades to the CVT template, such as, key macros for rotation and all the axes. We've synced just about everything that you can imagine in this, including, importantly, the datasmith. So for context, the vanilla CVT uses the built-in replication system provided by Unreal, right? It looks like Anthony's moving some stuff. Back up a little bit. Bunch of ants down there working right now. But as I was saying, the replication system used by the developers of this CVT, it works great. It's fine. But the thing is, it's quite cumbersome in the sense that to grok it, you have to be quite familiar with Unreal and that architecture. So if you're really trying to get in here and be dangerous, Cavernus is like a great option. We make it such that not only can you modify, but you can extend the functionality of the CVT platform. So I will get into that in just a moment here.
Now we're using the levels that were part of the new project templates in the editor. This can be any level, right? This could be a broadleaf forest that you're running around in, right? It can be anything. It can be a data set that has a very highly detailed version of a car model, right? And we just make it easy for you to have spatial co-presence with communication, with a fully rigged, fully featured avatar system. There's an orbit mode that we could show. There's all kinds of ways and tools to collaborate with somebody regardless of what the data set is. In this case, it's an AC example, but it could be anything.
Yeah. Yeah, we've had examples of BIM data and architectural purposes of, flying around, viewing data sets. And you can see just with some of these tools, one of the things that we've added actually, annotations, right? On their own, quite useful. But the tricky thing is with 3D annotations, you have to be in the same orientation as the user who created that paint stroke, right? So I'd be like, David, come check this out. He's like, from where? What angle? There's a large.
He's playing with the scale.
But you'll notice here we've added, I think, quite a nice feature. It snaps you back to the original orientation of that paint stroke. So David can go in there, do the same thing. I can see if he's left some notes on, a design review for a car or whatever it may be.
Yeah, the CVT has bookmarks, which are camera hotspots or camera bookmarks. And when you do a paint stroke, we create a bookmark and put it there. It's got a timestamp and your name on it.
Yeah. X-ray features, everything is saved to the journal. So again, leaving the space, coming back to it, it's persistent.
So Cody can show you who's in the space.
Yeah.
So these are like Zoom-like features, if you can think of it. Look at all the people in the space. And then Mark has the camera on. So Mark's down in the exhibition hall. Now we added all of this to an empty project instantly. We haven't written any code at this point. We haven't written any blueprint code. We haven't written any C++ code. So you can add this to your content and your levels in your project immediately when you go back home, and have working audio-video conferencing at a minimum. Actually, you've got the closed caption on. So,
I just turned it on, and just if someone is speaking.
Yeah, we could tell Anthony to turn his mic on, and you can see we're translating the simplified Chinese here locally. Yeah, I'm not being rude and using my phone. I'm telling people to unmic or mute and unmute.
But yes.
Here.
Oh, there's Anthony.
Oh.
How is everybody in the audience? Hopefully you're finding this very interesting.
So Anthony's the big boss, right? Everybody else say, yeah, oh yeah, it's very interesting. And he's in San Diego.
Seeing this in another language if you've got the closed caption on.
Oh yeah, there it is. So simplified Chinese, you can see popping up for what Anthony is saying.
Mm-hmm.
But in this space, it's a great example.
And he'll just keep going like that until we tell him to mute.
Anything else you think we should show off in this? I'm going to go and give a little more detail on the blueprints, but...
Yeah, so we have 8.5 minutes. We definitely can start taking questions.
Yeah, let's do that. Great. All right, thanks, guys. Thank you.